Hey, Stormy. Okay, we got the crew here. Hold on, let me get my emotional werewolf really quick. That has a gold grill. I love this. I love this, y'all. Okay, so could you guys introduce yourselves, starting with Melody and going around? Did you introduce yourself? Tell us what genres or genre that you write in, and anything you want us to know before we get started.
I am Melody Lynch, and I write paranormal romance, but it has elements of thriller, suspense, drama, all the things. I'm just excited to be here, so I'm looking forward to the interview.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elle Madearis. I write both paranormal and contemporary romance. And like Melanie, I am excited.
Hi, I'm Tessa Stone. I write paranormal romance. Right now, I just have the Winter Moon catalog and the Snowed In collab. And I'm excited for the interview too. Hi.
All right, so let's get started. So, paranormal, speculative fiction, and supernatural stories are often lumped together, but they each carry different weights, especially when written by Black women. How do you guys define these genres?
Oh.
Who want to go first? Okay. Can you repeat the genres again? Because
I said paranormal, speculative fiction, and supernatural stories are often lumped together, but they each carry different weights, especially when written by Black women. How do you define these genres? And I also said what makes them distinct or interconnected for you, especially as Black authors.
okay, well, I guess for me, um, so when it's interconnected, I try to look at it when I'm world building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of like, I guess you would call a mechanical writer. So I'm always looking at um, how the story is built versus just sitting down and just typing. I hate to bring up Winter Moon, but that
Please
that
do.
that interconnection is in there where I put I, I kind of put some interconnected real world events kind of with the supernatural element.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. As a Black woman, when I was writing Winter Moon, that was me screaming out into the void. I felt like no one was listening to us, and I thought, what if I built a world where um, supernaturals were looked at the way Black people were looked at,
Mm-hmm.
how we were. Everybody sort of. It just seems like everybody wants us. They see just how great we are, but they don't really want us sitting at their tables. And so I built a world that sort of was like that with supernaturals. You think supernaturals are these great creatures, but you're scared of them. So
Mm-hmm.
sort of built my world that way.
I like that. The rest of you guys?
For me personally, when you start, describing different genres, if you ask 10 different people, you'll get 10 different answers about the differences. And I write paranormal romance, and to me, it's just because, it involves shifters, vampires, things like that. But I know sometimes when you get to talking about alien romance, some people will classify that under sci-fi and that umbrella. So I don't really know. So that's my opinion on it.
You ill?
Well, when I'm thinking about like the paranormal and that the supernatural world, like super to me, paranormal is like how can I defy what we feel as normal.
Mm-hmm.
That's why in like my paranormal books, I like to give um, like the human people, like real human, like responses. Like if you see someone shift into a werewolf, you're gonna be like, this is beyond, what I'm thinking. And when you're thinking about the supernatural world, to me that is just even beyond the scientific part. Like there's no explanation, to it. So I like to interconnect them because why not? Like why
Mm,
can't my werewolf have, something that's, he's already a phenomenon sticking out anyway. So why not give him something else extra, to go with it? And what I've learned from Melanie and what I've learned from Tessa is that there's not enough representation of Black authors in supernatural world, in paranormal. So it's like, how can, I was like, I'm gonna blend the two. But, again, it's just not enough of our representation over there, not enough of our magic and our creativity, in
yeah.
those spaces.
In many ways, the paranormal has been sugarcoated in whiteness. Angels, vampires, witches, wolves, all polished, clean, and divorced from their cultural and ancestral roots. How do you reclaim the genre through your characters, settings, or mythologies? Are there specific African or diaspora spiritual practices, symbols, or worldwide world views that guide you in your work?
Well, for me, it was biblical, but I think that was a given, though.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
that with Amir.
yeah, it was biblical. So um,
And
I would
Tessa,
like
so
to. Oh no, go ahead.
no, Tessa, go ahead, go.
I would like to go more into um, African mythology,
Mm,
but I need to study it a little bit more. When m- I have a degree in creative writing, fiction, but I minored in history, but it was mostly U.S. history and
hmm
some Greek history, and I want to tap into, but I need to study it more before I just start putting stuff out there.
Oh, I love to see that.
Yeah.
I want to say that you, Storm, and Tessa made me again realize how I need to again respect the genre. I listened to you guys' interview when you did, Tessa, and when you guys were just talking about, how rooted it was, just in our history, it said to me, I was like, okay, you're not doing enough. Like you
Mm,
need to go back and really research these things and, really see how it, play into our history,
hmm
because, for a long time, I think I've been told misinformation, about, people like, oh, voodoo and different stuff like that. So people will scare you from actually, looking into your history and different things of that nature. So listening to you guys talk, I said, you guys sparked something in me. So I said, let me go back. Let me pick up a book. Let me, like Tessa said, I need to, like you said, brush up on some history. How can I, root in, some of our history even when we got, here. Because for a long time I was scared to touch that slavery and that kind of
hmm
stuff. I was just kind of scared to touch it because of, I grew up in the South and I had my own experiences with racism, different things like that. So I was just kind of scared to touch it. But after listening to you guys just kind of talk about, you can look beyond the borders of, what we know and get to know our history a little bit and how can we bring in, those elements into, that paranormal world. So I was like, I don't know anything outside of what my grandma taught me about. Oh, the girl, that's voodoo. Don't touch that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I need to do some research. You guys kind of called me to the carpet. So I was like,
No.
okay, I gotta step my game up. You guys, you, Melanie, Tessa, and Storm, you guys made me respect this genre of like, hey, you're not just gonna get in here and just write a book and be gone. Like, no, like these are real stories. These are real historical facts of things. It's like, no, respect the genre if you're gonna write in it. So
Oh, any way I can make y'all write paranormal, it's a good day for me. What about you, Melody?
I really
Melody's like, look, it's not that deep, please.
I mean, it's sometimes, I just want to tell a vampire story and I don't want to connect anything to it, or I want to and I come from a world where, um, it's more of a small town world, and a lot of that history is lost. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like even small towns don't really get represented
Mm-hmm.
in the literary space because, sometimes the small town experience is way different from, say, the inner city experience or the big city experience. And so sometimes there's a disconnect there. So sometimes in my work, it's the small town experience. And
Mm.
sometimes that's what I play on.
That is true. That is true. I do not see a lot. Well, I see a lot of white authors, but it doesn't have the small town feel to it. It's primarily based off of the characters. The town is just like the backdrop to it. It's not really included in it. So yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot in some of my older work, it's more of the small town dynamic. But I mean, I guess to me, struggle is universal. It's just
Hmm.
dressed up different.
Hmm. That's true. So, Octavia Butler carved out a speculative space for Black thought, survival, and imagination. Do you feel her influence in your work? Have you ever read Octavia Butler? And beyond Butler, what other cultural or personal influences have shaped how you write the otherworldly, the forbidden, or the unseen?
Okay. So, Octavia Butler is in my TBR, but I have not like opened it up and read it because it's just been too much going on.
Hmm.
However, I have read a lot. I read a lot of indies. She's traditionally published.
Hmm.
Um, so before I started Tessa, I think I just went to the top 100 in Black African American fiction and just started picking books up. I read Blake Moore. I read she had paranormal. I was just reading everyone's paranormals. They all played a role. I don't want to butcher anyone's names, but Natavia, she's very,
Natavia.
very Natavia. That's how you say it.
Hmm.
I read a lot of her books.
Oh yeah.
It's so many. I mean,
Yes.
because I'm a butcher name, so but I just went through the top 100 and I read, and
Mhm.
I was writing lesbian romance exclusively at the time.
Mm.
So I went to Melody and I said, because she was in there, it was like a bunch of her books in the top 100. So I asked her, I said, how do you feel about me coming over there? She said, girl, it's open. Get over here. So here I am. But that was what happened. That's the role it really played in me pushing forward and like the world building. I just, saw how it was working before I went and really just pushed forward. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I haven't read Octavia's book. And the thing about how I even got into the paranormal world was Melanie. She was the first person I found that was writing paranormal because I was mainly in just contemporary romance, and I see Melanie's book cover and I said, oh, I just think I want to read this. Even though I had, seen movies and different, I've been exposed to it just some TVs and favorite shows and things like that, but I had never seen it black until I
Mm.
read Melanie's book. So when I read Melanie's book, I was like, oh, black folks over here, doing all this carrying on. So I was like, I think I want to write this because I seen it in every color but black. And Melanie was my first like introduction. She was like, "Come on in, girl." Like when I picked up her book, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and I kept picking up different parts of her book, like, "Oh yeah," and then I got exposed to some. I want to say her name is Drea Anderson.
Uh-huh.
So I seen some of her books. I was like, "Oh okay, I can read this," and so I think my entryway was different. I also want to say I was late to the party uh, because I was in another genre. And again, like they were the first, Melanie was the first person to ever show me what it looked like in black.
Mm.
So
That's what's up, Melanie. Come on, pull him in. Pull him in, girl. Oh man. So what do you think, Melody?
Um, I have read, like, I've been a lifelong reader, and where I come from, there was no, no hype for the Black authors or this is the Black experience in literature. There was none of that.
Mhm.
So I have read Octavia Butler. I think it was Fledgling, and I was
Mm.
like, okay. But I've also read like NK, is it Jameson?
Mhm. Mhm.
It's like I've experienced all of those things on that spectrum, and it's like I loved it, but it's like I didn't grow up reading that. I didn't even know that those ladies existed. To me, it's like growing up, you saw Stephen King, you
Mhm.
know, and you saw, James Patterson and Dean Koontz. And so it's like all of these different literary experiences, but it's like the Black experience was always missing from mine just because of access. And so when I do see ladies like, Octavia Butler, it's like, this is amazing, but it also feels kind of different. I'm like, okay. So
Mhm.
I do read her and I do appreciate, what she's done for literature, period.
Mm. So some of your books, they just don't explore paranormal. They confront real life horrors. How do issues like racism, colorism, queer identity, mental illness, poverty, or police violence find their way into your characters' struggles and triumphs? Do you see your paranormal stories as a form of protest, healing, or both?
Both.
Why?
Both for me. Oh, you said why?
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, a lot of my stories have a primary focus on like what's going on today, loss of women's rights,
Mm-hmm.
loss of many kind of rights.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and yes, I'm as I'm expanding my world, I am also like I think in Chase and Ebony, I brought back sundown towns.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'm in Michigan, and I don't live too far from where sundown town used to exist.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It just comes out like if paranormals existed, how would people act? The same way,
The
or
same.
would there be change? Yeah,
The same.
yeah.
What about
So
you? Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. I'm done.
What about you, Mel? I'm gonna go to Melanie first. I'm Melanie.
Yeah, a big part of the intention, like for me, even writing Monster,
Mm,
was I like to play with the fact that I believe that humans are the real monsters.
mm,
Um, a lot of my earlier work was about generational trauma
mm,
and just heavy healing arcs, racism, poverty. A lot of times in my books, like the wolves might live on a certain side of town. They don't have grocery stores. They don't have access to public transportation. All of that things. Humans see them as less and they take advantage of it. So it's definitely a reflection of, my experiences and real world experiences.
I understand that, and I do agree. I think humans are the monsters. And Elle.
I'm gonna say I haven't really addressed those in my paranormal journey, but
Mm-hmm,
I can say that I am watching a master class of watching Tessa and Melanie do it well.
mm-hmm.
When I tell you I listened to Melanie's audiobook and I wanted to fight that girl mama real bad. And when I went to Melanie and she broke it down to me just like how the real she put real life dynamics of relationships in these paranormal books. It's like, hey, this is what happens. And and then also with Tessa, she was putting in those real life experiences. And again, I'm watching a master class. Like they push me to like, how can you expand on this genre? How can you bring those real life elements, inside of your writing? So I am learning from them. I do plan to add some of those different elements because I've definitely grew up in a small town dealt with racism, being a woman, of course, what we deal with on a daily basis, and a black woman at that. So, so I'm learning from them how you can bring those elements in the book, and the book still be, it still can be have a romance theme to it. It still can have love in it, and you still can address some of those real life factors. But I still want to fight that girl mama though.
So a lot of the male characters, even when I'm talking about your writing, Elle, in contemporary, a lot of the male characters in your stories are layered. And often they may be wounded or emotionally repressed or struggling with their own masculinity. Why is it important to write male characters that are emotionally complex and sometimes even emotionally broken? What conversations are you trying to spark about masculinity in the Black community through paranormal narratives?
So when I'm thinking about the main male character, I want him to evolve as well as the female male character. Like they have real life issues that they have to deal with, and it's like, how did they get that way? And I had an editor challenge me on that. She was like, okay, why? Why is this person upset? Why is this person unhinged? Why is this person, show love this way? Show their progress, and what they go through, and how do they get to these different, all of those things make up a great story. All those things show that, men are vulnerable too. And why do they, how did they get there? Like, I think that's just as important as showing how they connect with the woman. Yes, they are providers. Yes, they are protectors, but how? How did they become this way? And I think that's just as important as watching them, connect with a woman and that person evolves. So I had somebody challenge me. It's like, it's not okay for you just to write a, one layer, man, like show me something else. I want to see their, how they evolved, how they changed. When I was writing Unleash Me, my editor hit me back with, okay, he seems like a flatline character. Like, why? Like, why did, because Gage really was more unhinged than the version that you guys actually got. And she, yeah, he was something else. And she was like, why? You didn't show him change or do anything. Just because he's, paranormal, he's immortal doesn't mean that he hasn't seen things, he hasn't grown, he hasn't, experienced all these different things. And as I think back on it, like, I really could have put some real life elements in there. I mean, you being 900 years old, you didn't see just about everything. You didn't been through different time periods. So I missed out on that one. So, but when she challenged back on that, I was like, it is okay. And then also the reader said it, because I'm a lurker, so I be in everybody's comments, I be looking at everybody's stuff. And I've seen readers say, can the men have some layers to them? Can they, can you guys kind of write, how they became this way and those different kind of things? And I don't know, I have to watch it with paranormal, because I'm like, oh, werewolves, they're just gonna be, protector, and they're just gonna take over everything. And it's like, no, watch that. You don't want someone who is so masculine that they can't hear their partner speaking, that they can't have those conversations with them, that it's a part of being masculine, and also is that comes with being able to respect your partner and to listen to them and to grow with them. And so I feel like that's important when I'm writing my guys.
Okay, I like that. Who next?
As far as me, honestly, my stories are more so about women's healing. Like, so even in my stories, there are male characters whom I do not like. But I feel like that has to be, in life, we don't like everybody. And I can't adjust my characters so that I like them. But a lot of my male characters I do not like. My stories are more so about the healing of women.
Well, damn. Well, damn. Okay.
Okay, Melanie.
That's the first time I ever author say that.
Me too. That's why I'm like, what?
Yeah, I didn't know. Didn't know.
I really don't like that. Like my character Lucien from the Snowed In series from book one, I do not like him. I can't stand him. The fact that he gets a happy ending after what he did to Unique bothers me. But that's life, right? Sometimes people wrong us and they move on, but we get so stuck in the hurt that it's our own lives that we destroy. And I feel like that makes sense. And so that's why I never change a character, even if I don't like them, because they're real.
Mm. Okay.
All right.
That's the realest answer I ever heard. God damn. It might drop, y'all. Damn.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, Tessa?
I don't know, like when my world building, it was really different. I was really thinking like going that long without your mate. How would you act? How would you act? And really my whole theme about that was just Black women being loved properly, the way we deserve, because it's just not, I don't see a lot of that. I see it, but not a lot of it. And I just wanted to just showcase Black love. But with my male characters, and it's not all great. I've started entering sort of the dark side of Winter Moon. And I like, just like Melody said, there's some characters that I don't like writing, but I'm pushed through it. But yes, there's one male character in particular, I really don't like writing him at all. But I do it because yes, that man. And I just be pushing through to finish that book. But like, for example, with Amir, he's been around since the beginning of time, and he just now getting his fated mate. How would he act? He would really want to savor the moment. He would, he's been yearning. He finally has it. So it's just a different level of appreciation. When you've been wanting something for so long, you're going to treat it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so mine was just different.
So, Elle, let me ask you this. You crossed over from contemporary into the realm of paranormal. Was this shift always part of your author journey? And I know you explained it earlier. Did something about paranormal fiction feel necessary either to escape realism or to express something that you couldn't in your contemporary work?
I don't necessarily know. I did not start off with the mindset that I was going to write paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm writing it, I leaned hard on Melanie and Tessa. We'll hop on a Zoom and they'll let me talk for 15 minutes on a whole rant, on a whole storyline and this and the other. And they give me the feedback that I need. They give me the push that I need to continue to, move forward. Like, especially with Snowed In, I was intimidated. I'm like, I'm with two big dogs. And I'm coming in here with one paranormal book, still trying to understand the genre. And, I leaned on them really hard. And a part of me there's a part of me that do love that world that, just like the movies and things that I've watched and things that I'm interested in. I love that world, but I didn't know how to write it. And I had no idea that they could be Black, really. Because, when we're looking at, the Harry Potters and the Twilights and all those different things, like, you don't really see us. And when you do see us, we a background character. We are a side character. We ain't the main character. We dead in 5 minutes. Yeah, like, we don't get nothing special. We don't get a special ability or, anything like that. And then, like I said, when I picked up Melanie's book, I was like, oh, these Black people in here. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna push myself. I'm gonna write this. And because I was connected to these two wonderful people, I was able to do that. And the thing that paranormal pushes me the most, because there are no rules. You make the rules. And in my everyday, how my brain just thinks every day, especially contemporary, the rules are already made. We go by what society says. But when you step over in that paranormal world, you make the rules. And sometimes that is a little hard because it's almost too much freedom. And explaining because you don't know this world. So I have to explain this world to the reader. Like, how do I explain this? One example, I had my editor hit me back on Unleash Me. She was like, okay, you got werewolves in the towns with humans. They're not aging and no humans is questioning this. And I was like, girl, you're right. Now I'm gonna come up with these folks ain't gonna, So that was like, how do you have to come up with all of these different rules about, so it would make sense, not just in my brain, but it just has to make sense to the reader who's picking up the book and reading the book. It's like, oh, okay, and so it's almost a little too much freedom on the paranormal side. But the more I write it, I think the better I am becoming at it. And again, with two big dogs, so they like always right there. They'll never tell me my ideas are just crazy. I laugh because Melanie, I could never get over this. I call myself writing a reader magnet, and I done wrote a whole nother book that ain't got nothing to do with nothing else. And Melanie was like, "What?" Like, so she she kind of helps draws me back in, to that. And, again, I piggyback off their work and their creativity, but it is a little hard sometimes when you have to create everything. Like, all the rules are up to you. However, everything flows in this world that you created, it is on you. You can't lean on society. So
That is true. That is true. So, for all of you, how has the publishing industry responded to your work in the paranormal genre? Do you find yourself placed in a white reader bubble? No offense to white readers. So yeah, where your work is either ignored or put in the black box. How do you navigate the marketing of your work when paranormal stories written by Black women still feels like outsiders in both the romance and speculative fiction markets?
Ooh.
Now y'all know I'd be coming with these questions.
yeah, that's what I was like.
Okay, so I'll do it. Since I was coming from lesbian romance, I sort of was teetering on the line of interracial. And I had a really hard time when I was writing lesbian romance. There's some readers from my old pen name, and I had a hard time with the marketing aspect of that, trying to reach the right audience. But when I started branding Tessa, I said I didn't care if it made 2 cents. I want to write Black books. I want to reach a Black audience. And so I just sort of stuck with it. And I wasn't trying to hit that wider audience. I just wasn't. I wanted to write about Black people, and I wanted Black people to read about it. And that's no offense to white people, but that was my target audience. So I wasn't looking for. I do have white readers, but my target audience was my people. So I wasn't trying to. Now, when you limit yourself like that, because some, not all, some white readers will not read a Black book. I'm just saying, calling a spade a spade. I'm not saying all, but some, most will not read a Black book. And I didn't care. That was just my frame of mind. I just wanted to read. I wanted to reach my people, and I wanted to represent my people.
Yeah.
So that was it. That's it.
I feel like I thrive because where other people see challenges or pushback, I see opportunities. And so when I came in, I was never thinking, oh, this is going to be a challenge. I never had that mindset. I was like, I'm telling the story, I'm great, I'm unique. But there are other people who like what I like, who want the stories that I want, so it's like I never had that scarcity mindset. And so I came in, I was like, this is the book. I advertised, I found my readers, I started from the bottom, I I took the hits because, of course, when you're advertising, sometimes you hit that other audience, right? Who doesn't want your books. But guess who else is in there? Those people who do want your books and don't know where else to go. And so that's kind of how I built it. Like, our readers who are in those spaces, who are getting ignored, but they're still there because there's nowhere else for them to go. I was there, so they saw me. I mean, I took some hits, I got some low ratings, I got bad comments, all the things. But what happened was I found these people who, well, I found Black women who want paranormal, who read paranormal, who don't see themselves in the mainstream, but they love it, so they read it anyway. And then, here I come, like, hey, I'm over here. And so while I did take some hits, I did find that core audience. And so I never felt bad about it. Even to this day, like when we face different things, like I don't feel like, oh, why is this happening to me? Or this is a challenge of being an author. Like, I take it on the chin and I keep moving.
Okay. Well, shit, you take it on the chin. Shit, you tough. Because you said you don't even like your male character. Shit. Okay. I am never going to get over that. I am never going to get over that.
I don't. And if you've read, if anybody's read Lucian's backstory, I feel like the fact that he gets a happy ending really annoys me, and I'm still upset about it. I am really upset.
Okay. Ew.
So when I first stepped into the paranormal world, again, I'm leaning on Melanie, right? Because she had, from the moment I stepped into that realm, she already had my mindset kind of shifted, as in, hey, view this as an opportunity. Like, this space is wide open. There's not enough representation of us in this space. This is an opportunity. So that's how my brain was already kind of set, because Melody had already planted those seeds in my head when we first connected. It's like, oh, it's just this space is wide open. Look at this opportunity out here, and that's how my brain viewed it. And it's not until we started our paranormal group that I've seen there's so many people out here that enjoy. There's a lot of Black readers enjoy that space, and it's not enough books for them to consume. And when I see them and they're excited about a character that I wrote, or and celebrating the authors that do write in that genre, it's exciting to see it. In like real life, like you're scrolling through this feed and you see people talking and discussing, about what they took from it, what they learned from it, and those different things. So my mindset was always, this is an opportunity. And the way the readers showed up for me, oh, you couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't talk to me. Because I was like, these readers that showed up for me, and I only got my 2 good books out. They just showed up. So, and they...
Now, Elle, you wrote some fire ass books. I don't care if it was just 1 book, 2 books, 50 books. You wrote some fire ass books. Like,
but it was
stuff on the back now.
It really was. It was amazing. Like, I went from a basketball romance to, oh, let me write this paranormal, and they was like, okay, we're going with you. And it was amazing. But yeah, my mindset has always been, this is an opportunity. And again, every time I see you talk about Bookstorm, about the books, and Melanie and Tessa, it's like, you're going to respect this genre. And I continue to keep that in my mindset. Like, no, you're not going to half step. You're not just going to throw a book out there. You're going to respect this genre like you respect contemporary romance. So,
yeah. I mean, it's as a reader of paranormal, I always, I had Octavia Butler, yes, but it was more white people than it was Black people. I was J.R. Ward. I was the Anita Blake series. It was what's her name? Norma something. Laura Lai. It was those people. That's all I had, because Barnes and Nobles, Borders, and all them, they did not have Black paranormal in there ever, ever, unless it was some type of anime or manga. So, and that was scarce. So I appreciate the genre because it tells our story in a way that I can relate to the characters. I don't care if they shift into an ant. They black. You know, I can relate to the characters. So, you know what I'm saying? Whereas when Tessa was saying, you know, how white readers sometimes they don't want to read black stories, and it's crazy because a lot of the white readers that say that are the ones that say I can't relate to the characters. I spent my 46 years on this goddamn planet having to relate to some white bitch in a book. And do imagination shift and put her skin a little melanated. You mean you can't read black authors because you can't relate because they're black? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. But what changes would you like to see in publishing around paranormal fiction by black authors? And I'm saying like marketing, culturally competent editors, publicists who actually read and understand your work. What's the infrastructure missing?
I want to see us on the big screen. We have the stories.
Yeah, that.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, I want to see that when books are released in the paranormal world, like with black authors, I want the whole rollout. Why can't we get the rollout in front of Barnes and Nobles? You know, why can't we get the big deal, the big deals from the traditional, publishing world? Why can't we get the, the grand marketing, you rolling out the red carpet, you seeing us on billboards, you're seeing us, really being, marketed, because paranormal itself is a great genre, and then there are black stories here that need to be told, and that can carry a series. It can carry the big screen. It can, our readers show out for us. They will show up for Barnes and Noble's midnight releases. They will show up at bookstores. They will show up where we are. And we deserve the big rollouts. We deserve the big budgets. We deserve all of those things. And for it to be more representation on a wider scale, like, we deserve those things because we can carry it. We can sell it. We can produce it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ladies?
I agree with what Elle said. I would like to see more representation in the film industry. Even, I would like to see more representation in the film industry. Like, being indie, I really like the control I have. So,
oh, yes.
She put emphasis on that control.
I do. I really do. Because, I'm going back to my lesbian romance pen. And the experiences I've had on that pen really shaped my mind for Tessa. So, like, even there was a time when I hired a publicist, a PR, personal assistant. And she just could not flow with me because I was a black woman. So, it just was a lot on that pen name that really shaped me working on Tessa without saying so much. And I really like the freedom of being indie. I just do. I get to make my own marketing decisions, but that also puts a lot of weight on me as an indie too, because I am my own marketing. I have to do my own marketing. I have to come up with ways to pull readers in, make image, make promo that will draw the reader in, things like that. And I'm doing okay, but
okay, your shit be fucking cinematic.
Hello.
What? I look forward to the movie trailer of your fucking book more than anything.
I'm trying, but I like the freedom of being indie. I guess I'll just say it like that. I don't want to go the traditional route and then I have a publisher tell me I need to lighten my characters up, because I am not going to do it. All I'm going to say.
I can't believe half of the shit y'all go through.
Yeah. when it comes to that, I just I really I like the freedom, and I can just I'm building my world, so
Yeah.
it's all me, and I like that. Some people don't like that, so it all depends on you know you and how you want to, because every indie runs you're essentially your own publisher, so you're all going to do it differently. The way L markets is different from the way I market. The way Melody markets is different from the way I market. We're still reaching the same audience, but it's just in a different, we have our own way we go about it because we have our own brand. So but to finish, yeah, I like my freedom, running it the way I want to run it. So
Okay. Lady.
As far as what I would like to see changed, I feel like I don't know, I feel like there's a gap sometimes because we write paranormal, we are successful at it, okay? And I feel like sometimes people will try to do exactly what they see us doing to be successful at paranormal. And I feel like that's not necessarily the way. But I don't blame people because, there are so few people who look like us succeeding that if you do see the one or the two people succeeding, you're like, oh, that's what I need to do. But in reality, we are doing so many things behind the scene. And I guess I just wish that is there a way that we can bridge the gap so that we can all share the knowledge about the business things that we're doing? So it's not necessarily just trying to emulate, because I feel like emulation isn't the way. Like when I talk to other authors, I'm like, do you have a newsletter? Are you marketing? Are you running ads? Are you getting arcs? Like what are your intentions for the arcs? But sometimes when I talk to other authors, there's this gap in knowledge. And I'm just like, okay, how do we bridge the gap in knowledge? Because I feel like that's all that it is. It's just the people don't have the access to the knowledge. And sometimes that just causes problems.
Yeah, that is true.
I agree. We've talked about that a lot in our Zoom about the lack in knowledge, because sometimes I'm surprised, like an author inbox me and then I start shooting off at the numbers and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like when I was on Lesbian Romance, I got to this number, and they like, what? I'm like, okay, well, me and Melody, we were in a lot of different writing groups where we saw a lot of white women making these really big numbers. And both me and Melody, we were both like, why not us? Why not? So, we just sort of got together and really sort of fleshed out what we could take from those groups and, make it our own. But we do see a lot of authors that don't know that. And it's like, we don't gatekeep. So, if anyone asks, I'll tell them.
Yeah. I ain't heard nothing from you, Elle.
Well, you know what? I soak up all their knowledge. Like when I tell you Melanie and Tessa come in with all of this like knowledge, like, hey, we need to try this. I love their fearlessness. Like they push me to be fearless. Like, hey, let's try this. Like you need to be getting this together. Like they challenge me to really, look at things from a different perspective. And it's not they don't operate in limitations. Their mindset is, why can't we do it? We should do this together. They don't even operate like that. I'm probably the person back there who would say, hey, wait a minute, my hand is up. We can't do that. They're saying, yes, we can. This is how we going to do it. So I am still, learning from them and their, just the information that they give me. I try to implement as much as possible. They help me with all my crash outs and my rants when I'm, as I'm on this journey. But I would like to see us be able to share more. I kind of feel like we're siloed. Like you have a bunch of people here and a bunch of group of people over here and a bunch of group of people over here, and how do I reach across that aisle?
Mm.
And how do I shake hands with you and we can exchange something? Like I just kind of feel like it's a lot of like silo. Like, oh, here go your group, here go your group, here go your group. Oh, you know this person know this person. But like, how can we all connect? Like, how can
Yeah.
we all hold hands and share information? Um, and not to say that with me just stepping in this realm, like I'm still trying to earn my way to some of the levels where some of these authors are, um, across all genres. I'm still trying to earn my way up there. So I don't want it to come across like, oh, you went through the mud and you got the info, just give it to me and I ain't gonna go through it. It's like that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying, can you teach me how? Can you point me in the direction and say, hey, there goes the well over there. It's up to you to go get the water at the well. You're like, so how can I just like how can I reach across the aisle and shake hands with everybody? Like how
Mm.
can we cross share information? How can we share readers? How can we pump each other up? How can I aid you even if I only have 5 people following me? Hey, they may not have been exposed to you, so how can I aid you? How can I uplift you to my 5 people that I have? To cross the lines to you. So
Mhm. Yeah. So you guys joined for forces to create a 6-book series, something that pushes against the stereotypes of the isolated indie author that doesn't work well with others. What was the inspiration behind the collaboration? What themes or ideas connect your books, and what did you want the readers, especially Black readers, to walk away from after reading them?
Melody was the head of this project.
oh yes.
Yes, me and Elle, she would bring it up every couple months because we've been friends for quite a few years. She would bring it up every couple months, and we'd be like, At the time, I was writing strictly lesbian romance. I just did not see how that was going to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started testing, and she brought it up again, I said, you know what? We're all here. Let's do it. And then she was like, it was almost like she already had everything ready to go. I was like, okay. She was like, what about this world? What about this? I said, okay. Like she really was the head of the project. So me and Elle, we just sort of fell in.
Absolutely. Melody
Yep.
came to us with that idea. She already had the name of the
She
place,
sure
and we
did. She
got on
brought it
the
up
Zoom.
multiple times.
Yes, and we got on the Zoom call. And she was like, "Hey, this ain't never been done before. Let's do this." And again, Melody operates from that world of, "Hey, this opportunity. Let's go get it. Let's go get it." So it's almost, So I was like, "Okay." When she brought this up, and she was like, "This is what this could look like," and even after the fact, just talking about this space that we build, it's like, hey, we can continue to build on this. This could be something that's great, for us to go through. But Melanie had this thing mapped out. I think she was just waiting on us. She was like, come on, you can do it. Like she was just to get to where she was at. And, as I dropped that first paranormal, I was like, I can't tell it all now. So, yeah, this is Melanie G. Like when we agreed, Melanie's like, okay, here goes the plan. I got this mapped out. We're gonna drop this right here. This is what this gonna look like. I was like, yes, ma'am. I was like, so, but I was very happy to be a part of it. Again, I was a little intimidated at first because again, Melanie and Tessa some heavy hitters, and I was like, okay, how do I fit into this? And they just made me feel so comfortable in that space and would just hear me out and let me talk through my themes, to make sure that I am one. My biggest thing was I wanted to make sure the reader didn't feel like when they got to me, it was a downgrading in reading because I'm still trying to learn this genre and the rules of this genre. And I made that a personal, like, thing for me, like, hey, you want to stay on pace with Melody and Tessa. You don't want to get to the point where reader get to your week. They're like, oh my God, here she goes. Let me wait till next week when Tessa drop her book. So they can get, that was my personal kind of challenge to me. It's like, stay on pace. You want to make sure that your books are in alignment with theirs. You have to elevate your writing. Like, look at what they've written. And I was listening to Melanie books like, okay, I see, on what I needed to do. And then I was reading some of Tessa's spicy scenes. I said, I got to step this up.
Mm-mm,
spicy scenes, and
mm-mm.
I was like, I gotta step this right on up. So that was my biggest thing. But this is Melanie's brainchild. Like she recently had this thing mapped out. She made it so easy for us to get on board with her, and she really presented like, hey, this is a great opportunity. Look what we could do. So
Melody.
Um, as we all know, there's just like a lack of representation for Black women in the genre. And so I wanted to create a place where we were the norm, where you could walk in and you didn't have to ask, oh, do I belong here? Is anybody going to look at me funny? Or do I stick out? Like I wanted us to be the norm. And I wanted our readers to have a safe place, where we can come in and we can cut up about the alphas or all the tropes and all the romance things that we already love, because I feel like sometimes when it comes to paranormal, constantly like fighting for that representation or fighting for that space. Like I wanted us to have a place. Like what happens when the readers have a space where they don't have to fight, where you can just wake up and you don't have to say, do I belong here? Is anybody going to judge me because of how I look or because my hair is or anything like that? Just like, it's just your place. And I already knew, like, I know Tessa's amazing. I know Elle's amazing. So yes, I used to pester them like, come on, ladies, this is it. Like, it's going to be great. And so that was basically the gist of it. I knew that our readers needed somewhere where they could go and be soft. We don't always want to be fighting or trying to prove that we belong. Like, let's put a sundress on and go see what these alphas is doing.
That a sundress. Okay, one of the questions before I get to my next question in the chat was, will you guys stay in paranormal?
Oh yes.
Yes. Oh, I ain't never leaving. This home. This is home. You gotta kick me out.
Let me ask y'all this: how did you manage different writing voices, ideas, and visions while building a collective story world?
Them Zoom calls are amazing.
Yeah, I was about to say the Zoom calls. It was
We
the Zoom
literally
calls.
would stay on Zoom for hours, just talking about, hey, what do we want Shadow Wolf Creek to look like? Like, what are the stories? What stories you're going to write? Piggyback off one another. We would even ask each other, like, hey, do you got a place in your book to do this or do that, do this? Like the Zooms and the chatting in our own groups about, what do anybody got this, anybody got that? And then we also played off each other's strengths. It was like, when we talked about marketing, it was like, hey, this is Melanie Week is coming up. We need to, hit this marketing strong with Melanie's book and roll this out and, repost stuff and different stuff like that. And we were just kind of behind one another each week that a book dropped. Like, hey, this book is dropping. We need to do this. We need to do that. Like, hey, we'll come up with different posts. Like, if I'm promoting my book, I'm also promoting the whole Shadow Wolf Creek as a whole. And, what does that look like? So it was a lot of conversations, a lot of, behind the scenes stuff, listening to each other's storylines, saying, hey, you got this in your book, you got that in your book. Like having those kind of conversations is how we were able to look at it. The thing I love about it is that we're all talking about the same place, but we all look at it from a different point of view. And it allowed for us to bring in all of these our great ideas about what my alpha would look like, what would my beta look like, versus what would Tessa's beta alpha look like, and the same for Melanie. Like we were able to keep the common things, like, hey, this is the common thing, this is things that we're gonna bring this element is, but I still want you to look at this place from your point of view.
Okay.
For me, it was easy. When you have people when you're in alignment and everybody's showing up for themselves. And then as the collective, to me, it's easy because not one person feels like they're having to carry this or do all the work or do all the things, or you're constantly chasing somebody down. There's like, it was none of that. Everybody showed up accordingly and just put their best foot forward, and it was fun. Like, we have a lot of fun. Like, at the end of the day, like, we're writers, but we really love what we do. So we would be in the Zoom clowning and, you know, cracking up about the characters. Like, we really love these stories. And so to me, it was easy. Like, it was easy.
Mm. Okay. So, paranormal fiction, when written by Black women, often gets labeled as niche or too urban. Do you think the literary gatekeepers like the New York Times bestseller list or the USA Today list are truly ready to see Black paranormal books dominate the bestseller list? What do you think is still holding back that recognition?
I'm going to say that the game has changed. And I think, and I hate, I don't want to name drop or anything, but there was one particular Black author that hit the #1 of the Amazon store, and she was indie. So I think that the door is wide open, and they don't have no choice at this point. If we as Black women, Black indie authors, we have the access now to reach readers and climb that list in ways never seen before. I've seen another paranormal author just a month ago hit the top 100 of the entire Amazon store, Black indie. So they don't have a choice. It's coming. It's coming. That's just the way I see it. It may not be us. Maybe it will be us, but it's going to be one of us, one of these Black indie authors, going to make it happen, and I'm going to be cheering them on the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't think they're ready. Because being ready would mean that one, you would have to first recognize that you were being biased in some kind of format in the beginning. There's too much and too many great Black authors that I see every day. I'm looking at their comments, I'm looking at their numbers, that I'm thinking you should be here. Like, I just feel like those spaces are not ready because they will have to confirm some things. They will have to admit some things. But I also think our readers are going to force them to, because our readers support us hands down. They, they go in and they say, this is the person that I enjoy reading. So yeah, I'm gonna, we have access now, as in, hey, I have access to directly to my readers. I can put this directly in front of their faces, and they gonna stand behind us. So I think that we're, like what Tessa said, eventually we're gonna force that door open. I think the door is cracked, but I don't think it's open all the way, because people are gonna have to they're gonna have to admit some stuff. They're gonna have to say, hey, I did ignore these this is the information that was coming in, this inquiry that was coming in, because I didn't think that, Black paranormal, was doing this strong. I'm gonna have to admit some things. And also we're gonna have to get into some places to where we can open that door and say, hey, I'm gonna bring me some, some Black indie paranormal people in the door. We're gonna have to get into those spaces, and I think we're getting there. I think we're gaining ground, in those places. And I also think we're creating our own spaces. They're saying, hey, even though I didn't make the U.S. Times bestseller, but I made this over here that's just as important. I think we are valuing our, book tours, and we are putting value in our own awards and different things like that. We are raising that standard, because we value that. Our readers value that. And once, once people start saying, hey, this is a big deal in this space, like over here, the readers really value these particular awards. They value these different things. We need to take a look at it. And, I think we're getting there. I don't think the spaces are quite yet ready for us yet, because they're going to have to admit some stuff. They're going to have to really, confront some things that they don't want to tell us. Because once we get in those spaces, we're going to ask you, well, why wasn't I been over here? I've been writing these stories. I've been My people back here, I can name you 10 right now, been doing this. They been cracked the Amazon bestseller list. Where was you at? How you just now? Then you're gonna have to tell us why. And you ain't ready to do that just yet. So.
That
Um, I don't care.
I just love her.
I mean, I get it. Like, it's the recognition, it's the all of the things. Like, I'm pretty sure that is some people's dreams, but from where I stand, I have readers from all walks of lives. I have older readers, I have younger readers, and to me, I mean, I can make a full-time living, and not just a petty living, a nice living from people who have been supporting us, who have been wanting what we bring. So I don't necessarily find myself even thinking about the other side. Like, okay, cool, I want to turn a manuscript into a movie. I'm pretty sure I can, if I do some research, I can find some indie producers, or I can find some indie people, doing things. So it's like, I never know what the other side is doing, because it's not even in my focus. Like, I'm more so focused on, like, okay, what am I doing? What am I trying to create? Who can I work with? Who can I connect with that's already, I don't convince anybody. If I have to convince you, that means that we don't need to work together.
Facts.
Very true.
That's why I love me some Melanie.
Yeah.
Well, I know people say I'm blunt, but goddamn. Now, Amazon has become both a gatekeeper and battleground for Black indie authors, unfortunately. Do you ever get tired of the low royalties, the lack of visibility, the way Black paranormals... I didn't even finish the question. Do you ever get tired of the low royalties, the lack of visibility, the way Black paranormal stories are either buried or mislabeled? How do you cope with the reality of having to play the game while being aware of its racist architecture?
Ooh.
You know what? When we came together, the three of us collectively sort of felt like we don't want to sit at your table. We will make our own table. That was just really just our mindset the whole time, and still stays our mindset. I'm not looking for you at all. I'm not trying to reach, that wide spectrum. I just want to be with my people. My people, I want to reach a Black audience. I want you to know that there is a such thing. Well, it's not real, but there are Black paranormals for us. You get to see, a shifter, that's Black, that's melanated. Now with the royalty thing, Amazon is basically, it's over 60% of the marketplace. Like, you can't beat it. They really just made themselves a monopoly. That is an uphill battle. When the 15th comes and I get that KU rate, because it fluctuates. It goes up, it goes down. And I'm like in a group where they actually give you the number, and it went up a little bit this month. And, sometimes it's like you'll be looking at your dashboard and it's like that KU rate will drop. And then so thousands of dollars will like fall off your dashboard. It's kind of hard sometimes. However, I look at it this way, and not all authors look at it this way. That's why I say, when you're indie, you're just running your business your way. It's not what I'm doing may not work for the next author. I look at it this way: as an indie, you have to pivot. You have to learn to pivot. When something falls, you better have a plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. You have to have a backup plan. Like the KU rate dropped so bad in January, people were getting scared. And you got to pivot. Go start a Patreon. Ding, 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 ding. You got to really think and be one step ahead of the game. So you just got to always be on your P's and Q's. Start your website. try, direct sales. I haven't started a TikTok shop, but I heard those do well too. So you have to find ways to not make Amazon because they are such a big monopoly. You got to find ways to try to break out of it. Yeah. So.
When I tell you I cried in January, when I tell you that number dropped, Storm, when I tell you I had to just sit down and just hold myself together for a few minutes because I'm like, these folks done took my money. I ain't talking about $200. Like, these people took my money. I was like, oh my God. I have learned this lesson so many times, and I'm just gonna get to the point of where Tessa and Melanie is about. They always talk to me about pivot. Melanie has been really big on me saying, "Hey, you need to get a direct contact with your readers. Why do you not have a mailing list?" I was like, "Okay, Melanie, I got to get on this mailing list." And just again, Tessa's like, "Hey, why you ain't got this Patreon?" Like, I don't have enough confidence for a Patreon yet. I'm getting there, but I'm working on like the different things. Like Tessa said, like how do you not make yourself dependent on one person? Because I was devastated when they said, "Hey, we're gonna take TikTok," because my main audience is on TikTok. That's how I promote my books. So when they said they were gonna take that, I was like crashing out. And Melanie was like, it's time to pivot. How can we pivot? How can you look at your resources, what you have? How can you, you need to pull in this, this different thing here. And they really changed my mindset. I'm moving at a snail's pace, but I'm getting there to where they're telling me, hey, you have to not make yourself so dependent on this particular thing. Because I'm, again, I'm still a baby, so I'm still learning. But just trying to do that because the work that we put in and the amount of money that we get back from Amazon is, it is, but also Amazon allow for you to come in the door as well. So it's kind of like, it's a catch-22. Like, I'm going to allow you to get in front of some readers. And at the same end, you're going to play the game how I want you to play it. So it's like, it's trying to find the good and bad and all of that. Like, how do you find the good? I try to focus on the joy parts, but I'm going to tell you, dealing with Amazon is scary. You could wake up one day and they say, "Oh, we taking all your money, your account closed, and we don't know who you're going to talk to." So it's like dealing with them is a very scary thing. Especially one day I would like to be a full-time author because I work and I have a full-time job plus this. So I would like to get there, but sometimes I think about that. It's like, oh my gosh, like I would be scared to death. Like wake up one morning to Amazon and be like, "Hey, your livelihood is cut off." But that goes back to Tessa's point, go back to Melanie's point. Mel's like, "Hey, you need to create your own community. You need to create that space where your readers can access you. So you're not depending on one particular platform." So I am learning from them. But it does drive me crazy that you got to click 15 buttons before you can get the Black Paranormal Romance. Like, why can't I just click that one button and I be in Black Paranormal Land? Like, why do I have to go through this and click this here and click and go over here? Because I even put one of my snowed in the wrong category. So I was trying to go back through there and like click, how do I get back to the Black world? I was just clicking. Like, and finally I got it and I was like, yes, I'm in the right. And I knew I was in the wrong place when I ain't seen Melanie and Tessa. I said, what is it? This ain't right. You have to go through so many clicks to get to that Black paranormal space. So but they're good on Amazon. It's just like,
That is insane.
I knew it wasn't right, Storm. I was like, wait a minute. What Tessa at? I was like, Melanie book just dropped. Where she at? So I knew I was in the wrong place. I said, let me get bag this car up and get on the right street.
What about you, Melanie? Lord.
I honestly, I appreciate my relationship with Amazon. They give us a platform. It's their platform. They make the rules. And To me, I'm okay with that. If that means I have to turn down my spice, then that's what I'll do. If it means I have to do, what they say, then I'll do that. But at the same time, I feel like there's a gap because there is a game with Amazon, right? Do other people understand the algorithm? Do they understand SEO? How's your title? Are you ranking on the first or the second page? And so it's like there's things that we have to understand about Amazon and how we can make it work for us. And so it's like if any authors are watching, when you title your books, are you making it pretty or is it to the market? Can readers see your title and do they instantly recognize it as paranormal? How are your subtitles? Are they SEO optimized? Like, that's the things that we have to understand to kind of make the platform work for us without getting hit with all of that other stuff. And so that's kind of how I see it. It's like Amazon has been good to me. If you type in Black paranormal romance, I pop up. But that's not because Amazon gave that to me. That's because I understood the game that they were playing and I played it with them.
Okay. So beyond Amazon, what does independence look like for you? Are you building direct to consumer platforms, working with indie bookstores, hosting your own events? And how can readers find and support your work in a way that puts more power and profit in your hands?
So, does somebody else wanted to go first?
Go ahead.
No, you
Okay.
good, Tess.
So I was in like a big writing event like back in 2023, and it's just some notes that I really took to put into Tessa. And something I saw was authors who were like in the top 5. The one thing they all said was they wanted out of Amazon, like to the point where they just wanted their own data. They wanted access to their readers and they didn't want to have to go through a third party. Mm-hmm. So I really think that finding a way to sell direct to your audience, and I know it's very hard because, Amazon is a very big platform. And but if there is a way that you can reach your readers directly, I just really, I stand by that. Like, if you can find a way, even if you, it's a slow build. Like I said, I don't gatekeep, but I don't know if everyone knows, but there's a group called Wide to Win. It's a slow game, but there are some wide authors who don't just sell, or it's not exclusive to Amazon, and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They sell direct, they sell on iTunes, iBooks, Amazon, Kobo, and all these other places. But it's a long, hard game, and it's all about mindset. So you just have to find a way. Like, Amazon is the way in. If you want to find readers, you need to start there. You definitely do. But when you get your readers and when you get your audience, you need to try to branch out just a little bit, not have all your eggs in one basket. So I do highly recommend build a website, even if it's just a free PayHip website. Start a Patreon, and start putting chapters in there, share your work. Different things. You don't even have to start a Patreon. There's Ream. I don't know if anyone knows about that. There's Ream, and that's sort of like a Patreon, but it's more directed toward indie authors. And or you could just do your website. Social media. I see a lot of indie authors who show their faces, and they really try to engage with readers. So I think if you can pull your readers directly to you, that's gold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. I'm working on my website because I do want to open up a store. I do have some ideas of some different merch that I feel like there's also a gap in merch. I do not feel like there's enough Black book merch out there. Our readers enjoy that stuff too. They enjoy the coffee mugs and the keychains and the bags and different things like that. It's not enough merch out there to represent us. So I seen that, I was like, okay, how can I plug into that? How can I I want my readers to have a I don't know, a mouse pad with their favorite book on it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they enjoy that stuff. Our readers enjoy that stuff too. It's like it's not enough out there. So I am working on my website. I do plan to open up and sell direct. Um, I do hopefully we'll get the courage to open up a Patreon. Um, I'm working on my confidence there. I'm working on it. Even though Melly's like, girl, open up that. So, but I do think that you do. I do think that mailing lists are important. I do think having like that direct contact and also having faith in your readers. Your readers will follow you. They will find you. They will support you if you give them the opportunity to support you with, like with your books, your merch. That you're putting yourself out there in front of them and you're showing up for them. They will show up for you. It's just that you have to put yourself in their position to where they would. So I am getting to the point to where I want to do direct sales, and I would love to be, wide one day. To be like, hey, I'm everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But I do know that is like Tessa said, that's a slow game. Because the most of our readers are, especially romance readers, there are, if you think about it from the reader perspective, because I even have a Kindle Unlimited account. If you think about this, like, wow, I get all this for just one monthly fee because books are expensive. So I understand why my readers are saying, hey, let me just pay this monthly fee, especially what's going on with the economy. Let me just pay this monthly fee and things of that nature. But however we do, our readers they will support us. They will show up in places that we are. So it is putting ourselves out there. So I am working on my website. I do plan to, direct sale and, load my books up with goodies and different things like that because my readers have shown up for me. So
That's what's up. Melody?
You can always, my readers can always find me in the Black Voices in Paranormal Romance. We do some amazing things over there. Like we have a lot of fun over there. Tessa's doing the Black Paranormal Bingo, where she's highlighting other authors. We have the Work in Progress Wednesdays, where authors are allowed to share snippets of their work. Our group is almost 4,000 people. And so like if you're an author and you're building, if you come in there Work in Progress Wednesdays, you can show people what you're doing, what you're creating. Of course there are rules and regulations and stuff, but that's neither here nor there. But you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Patreon. So, or my newsletter. Like I'm always I do big stuff with my newsletter. Like I gave my entire newsletter book boxes for free. And then, like I'm on my Patreon. Like my Patreon gets free books, extras behind the scenes. And so like, if you're one of my readers, like follow me because we do fun stuff.
So what do you want to leave behind in the paranormal genre? What kind of space are you building for the next generation of Black women writers who want to explore love, terror, magic, and the supernatural?
That they can do it. That you can build your world and you can make your own rules. That's really what I want to leave behind. That it can be done.
absolutely. I want that same feeling I had when I read Melody book and I was like, oh, that's a black werewolf. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, they black in here. You know what I'm saying? So, and not just black, they black in here. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be able to leave that for someone. Like if they get up one day and watch a Harry Potter movie and they go looking for that, hey. Or if they, see originals or Twilight or whatever that is, like, hey, we got black people that write that too. And I can go and search these and they're readily available to me. Like I can just pick this up, read this, and I can see myself in, beyond the limits. I can see myself, beyond scientific knowledge. Like there's somebody out there to say, hey, you know what I'm saying? I want you to see yourself. So definitely that.
Okay.
For me, my thing is more so mindset. I want people to, because I can tell you all day, hey, come over here and do this. You can be great too. But if your mindset has not caught up to that, then that's a missed opportunity. And so I really want people to believe, like, you got to believe, like, I can write paranormal. I can have a successful career writing paranormal, because if you tell yourself from the beginning, oh, it's going to be a struggle, or oh, I'm not going to make any money, or any of that, you believe that, so that's the reality. So I really want people to change that mindset, to come in here and be like, I can do it. It can be done. And to believe it. Because no matter what me, Elle, and Tessa are telling anybody, if you don't believe it, you're just going to be like, oh, they got lucky. Or, oh, you'll have a million reasons why we're extraordinary. And that allows you to be comfortable with your limitations, opposed to, oh, Tessa did it, Elle did it, Melody did it, I can do it too. And that's a whole mindset thing. So I really just want people to just elevate that mindset. That's it.
That's what's up.
Can I chime in really quick off of what Melody said? What she said is very, very true about the mindset. I mean, I'm in several Discord groups where, and they're author related, but my mindset is I can start a new pen tomorrow, and I may not hit the way Tessa did within a couple of months, but in a year, I would be right back where I was with her. If I just said goodbye, Tessa, and started over with a new one, because I've done it before, it's all about mindset. It's all about mindset. If you sit down and say, I want this, and this is what I need to get it, and you stick with that mindset, you will. It'll happen.
Absolutely. You gotta, man, when I tell you I want it just that bad, I want it so bad and test, like, I'm scared to mess up. Like, I have arthritis in both hands. I'm still writing because I want it just that bad. Like, it's just, I want them stories out there. I want it. And even when I get into my moments where I'm not my best mentally, I go to these two and they tell me, come on, you can do this. You got to get this straight. Come on, get this straight, But yeah, you have to want it. You do. You got to chase it with fire and passion. You have to, I told my husband, I said, hey, if you would just stick it out with me, let me get a few books under my belt. I just need you to hang in here with me. Like, I'm asking you to sacrifice some stuff for me, so I can get this done, because I want this, the passion I got for it. And he said, yeah, I rock with you. So it is chasing it with that fire. That, hey, I gotta live and breathe it. Like, I be at work, like, these folks need to get off my phone because I gotta write this basketball story about these folks doing this here. That's my mindset is already on it all day long. Like, because that fire and that passion, you gotta have that fire, because if I sit there and tell you my entire author journey, and how many times I have cried to these ladies, how many times I've double paid for editing, and people come back and say, oh, this book needs to be edited. I was like, I paid $2,000 for editing. Oh yeah, I have double paid, triple paid for editing, for those kind of things. Like, and then when you see that, it's like almost devastates you to see when when you see reviews like that, and you still got to get up and say, on to the next book. I even went to Melanie, it was like, should I get this re-edited? She said, go to the next book. You've got to keep moving. Continue to move.
Yes.
Continue to move. Like, you're going to grow. Your readers going to see you grow. They're going to see you change. They're going to see this. Show them the growth. Turn that part of your mind off that's, for me, it's like I was looking for validation. Mel's like, turn that part of your brain off. Like, you got to go to the next story. Go to the next story. So, when you, man... And it's like, you have to continue to keep that fire when you don't get the great reviews, when you don't get where you think the book should be. That fire got to be burning in you so you continue to do it. So,
yep. And if there's anything I leave with this is, I see a lot of authors that get discouraged, like, because their book isn't making a certain money. Just write another one. The key is the backlist. Like, I look at Melody's backlist, and comparison is the thief of joy. I say that to myself all the time. But that backlist, will save your life.
Mm.
Don't get so hung up on the fact that one book isn't selling. Write another one. Just don't even think about it. Write another one. So that's all. If I leave you with that.
That's what's up. I like that mentality. Before we get out of here and I start my infomercial of information, Jesus Christ. Drop your social media handles, websites, and anywhere besides Amazon where readers can buy your books. If that Amazon is your thing, where you sell the most books, say Amazon. But start off with your websites first. And we want people to support you with intention and help your stories thrive on your terms. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll go first. You can find me. I'm at author Melody Lynch on Facebook, and then I'm in the Black Voices in Paranormal Romance, and you can find my newsletter from the group. And also, if you are in here from the readers group, the first person to go in the group and type the word purple will receive all 6 books in the Snowed In series. But see, that's the type of stuff we do. So, follow us, join the email list, and yeah.
Y'all see that? They're giving you good books.
You can find me on here, author Elle Madearis here on my Instagram. I'm also in the Black Voices Paranormal Romance. I'm also on the Facebook. I'm also on Threads, and eventually you will see my rollout for my website. I also do post how to connect with me on my newsletter, which I'm getting ready to release my first newsletter, so I'm very excited about this. I'm getting ready to release that. But yeah, I'm on all social media platforms. But yeah.
I'm at author Tessa Stone for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And my website is tessastone.com. And I'm also on Black Voices in Paranormal Romance. And I'm also on Patreon at author Tessa Stone. So yeah, that's it for me.
I just, before I start with my housekeeping, I just want to say, first of all, y'all love me because he has a grill. Y'all love me. I just want everybody to know they love me. Fuck y'all. They love me.
I love that wolf.
The wolf got a grill, y'all. And y'all know how I feel about that. So, I just want to stress that. But also, I appreciate you guys for coming into the paranormal space and showcasing Blackness and love of Black women and just your stories in general, because it's needed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Black authors, they write just like Elle Madearis in other genres, but when they come into paranormal, y'all be putting y'all foot in it. Yeah, I ain't even gonna hold you. Now, some of y'all, it's Halloween, all right? But
I'm gonna tone it down.
But I do appreciate you guys. I am a paranormal, supernatural, speculative fiction, fantasy girly. So it's just, I'm happy, I'm giddy when y'all come together and make these books. I'm happy on your solo projects. You know what I'm saying? Because that cracking was cracking, Melanie. The cracking.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna need you to come back, spin the block. I'm gonna need you to spin the block with the cracking, because y'all bring characters that are not usually in the stories. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. I love that. All right. So let me get to what I got to get to so we can get the fuck out of here, because my stomach is touching my back. All right. So as y'all know, the Boozy Book Tour is full steam ahead. We have cities, Raleigh, which is coming up May 17th. We have Arlington, Virginia, that's coming up July 26th. We have Chicago, October 18th. That's a 3-day event. Then we have the Melanin Ball, which is Las Vegas, and that is February 27th through March 1st, and that is in collaboration with Bray. If you don't know Bray, I don't know what rock you under. But that is collaboration with Bray. And then also in 2026, we will be going to Denver, Colorado. That is an interracial, multicultural, erotica dungeon night book signing. And when I say dungeon night, it is a pop-up shop to my BDS M club that will be opening in Chicago in 2027. Then we will be having the Alice in One. It's the wonder. What she say? The Wonderful White Shoes. Mad Tea. It's a playoff of Alice in Wonderland. It is a white shoes event. So if you are an author who writes white shoes, or poly, or multiple motherfuckers fucking, I don't care. That is the event for you. That will be in Seattle, Washington. That will be October 23rd through the 25th, I believe. Yeah. So those will be open, so you can sign up for those. Also, events that should be noted. The ICU Reading Literary Experience is happening August 23rd in Detroit, Michigan. Miss Tessa Stone is going to be there. I get to find that in person.
Yeah.
So I can fangirl in person. I'm just saying. And that lineup is sick. Because Brandon Massey, my baby daddy. He don't even know he's my baby daddy, but he's my baby daddy. He's gonna be there. Beverly Jenkins is gonna be there. Y'all, it's gonna be a time. And I will be podcasting on location there. So you also have an event next year. Cali Authors Converse Books and Denim Takeover. Miss Shelly P, the author Shelly P, is throwing it in Los Angeles, California. That's April 25th. And it starts April 24th, but it's the book signing is on the 25th. So you get to wear your denim and your Converse in LA. I'm sure that lineup is gonna be noise. Other events you should be looking for is the GEM Awards. GEM Awards are happening in ATL on the HBCU campuses consortium. That's July 16th. That is the book signing. And also, if you have not voted for your favorite author in the award show, go to K Renee's page, vote, because me and Shannon are on that bitch. Vote. Let's get to the Black Bookish Businesses. Marked by Tyler. She is an editor. She is phenomenal. She edited Quell J's books. She is phenomenal and at a cheap price. Because when you said $2,000, I was like, God damn. I got my motherfucking money. And if you are looking for a bookstore to have your book in online, it will be the Literary DFW, my friend and business partner Shannon. She owns her own bookstore. She also makes author book boxes. She makes her own merch for authors, and she has a spend the night box in which an author can put their book in that book box. The book box is beautiful. It don't even look like a book box. It's like a goddamn Coach purse. But yeah, so if you want that, just get in contact with her, because all proceeds goes to her opening her own mobile bookstore cafe in Texas. Then you have Jess Turn Pages. She has a store called Bibliophiles Boutique where she spray edges. The spray edges are amazing. They're amazing. So check her out. What else? Trying to get to everybody shit. All right. The Urban Tea Room, Natalie. She has a book box for authors that are teas. Your characters are teas. She makes the teas to the character, match the characters. So if you are looking for a different book box, she can make those. So theurbantearoom.com. Check her out. And she is also a sponsor for the Boozy Book Tour for Chicago. So thank you, Natalie. And her teas are good as fuck. For real. And if you are looking for PR consulting and management, Booked and Busy Nicole, who also has a podcast, Pop Your Ish. If you are a content creator, a business in the bookish community, or author, and you're looking for representation, she is your girl. And also podcast, besides Pop Your Ish and my own, Jaleesa Reeves has just started her own podcast. Check her out and see if you can get on her show. And last but not least, because like I said, my stomach, y'all. We have the May round tables. If you didn't know, I do round tables. I did them last year. I said I wasn't going to do them this year, but I was voluntold to do them again, against my own will. But I'm going to do them. So May 8th, we have the library and bookstore, where you learn from librarians and bookstore owners how to properly get your books as an indie author in the stores and in the libraries. May 23rd, we have Sex and Books, a full unfiltered discussion with male and female authors, where they talk about books and sex and Black bodily autonomy in literary spaces. Then on the 30th of May, we have the Queer and Sapphic Roundtable from authors, publishers, and editors who are queer and write queer, sapphic, and LGBTQIA books. So yeah, that, and go to my website. It's in my bio. Go get my planner. It's a 3-in-1 planner. It's in my bio. And what else? Go to YouTube. It's in my bio. All right. Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for sticking it out with me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Storm.
I appreciate you guys. Is there any books